So, I hear people all the time tell me they're not religious, they're agnostic, and I hear that, and I understand what they mean, but I still get the feeling that most people, they may not be worshiping or revering a Christian God, but they're imitating a different God. They just don't know it. Like the gender people, I said before, they're all in their minds. And what did I mean by that? It's like the buildings. There's no connection to nature. There's no connection, spiritual connection to God. They have to reject and despise both to come up with their theories, which are totally in the mind. By definition, if it's in between the two, it's some human construct, Has to be that way. And, it's axiomatic. We don't have to get into an argument about gender theory, but everybody knows that gender is determined at conception. It's not a human construct. It's determined by nature at conception. Now, not only is gender fundamental, it's the greatest difference bestowed on human beings is gender. What's more important in what people want and what they desire and how they act and what they need in life and how to fulfill their spirits and their minds than sex, male, female. It's the greatest difference between people. And I believe the argument of the gender ideologists is that we need to erase the difference for diversity reasons. This is how they think. But I don't even know if they're thinking. It's like it's information versus knowledge, Knowledge is something you can understand, that you learn and acquire, and in the process of experience, people really understand on a level how to use and apply knowledge. But information is just given. There's no judgment if it's right, the information, the facts are right or wrong. There's no judgment, there's no wisdom involved. You can put anything into an AI machine and it'll calculate a conclusion. It's the same way with the gender people. They're being programmed, for a reason. Now, what else, like AI has no heart. And there's no heart, no feelings. And neither do the gender people who say that they're kids and they tell children to, lop off body parts and take all these really drugs and tell them that their minds, are most important. And even though it contradicts with your nature, you must be happy. It's number one. They're molesting these children, in essence, mentally. They have no heart. No. They don't have any heart either. So they're being programmed like computers. And computers has no religion. None. Because if they did have some religion, they wouldn't be so proud. They'd be more humble, and they would understand that human beings cannot change the gender. We're not that powerful. We are creatures still. We are made into man and woman by nature. We don't choose our gender. We don't control nature. Nature's bigger than us. They would know this. And then also, if religion would help people understand not to have desires that are unmeetable. How can you consummate let's say you're longing to fly and you're never going to be happy in life unless you can fly. Well, maybe you should change your desires, man. Maybe something a little more reasonable. So even if you're taught this information by your professor, who has an authority of big books behind them and a PhD and student loan debt to prove it, they would think, well, this counters what I understand spiritually. And they might stand a chance to reject it, or at least question it. But more importantly, with religion, human beings are limited. We're not gods, We can't create gender, just like we can't make a dog or a cat, The idea is that human beings are able to name the creature, the living being. We can call it a dog, we can call it a cat, call it a man, we can call it a woman. Or we can mix all those names. And we could call that a dog and that a cat. What difference does it make? It's just a name. It doesn't change anything fundamentally. And that's the problem. We're just giving things in gender a new legal name and swapping legality problems, giving money to lawyers, causing a lot of confusion, but fundamentally nothing changes. I guess the idea is gender equality is the ultimate goal, to make people the same. When I think of gender equality, I think that, men turn into bitches and women act like dicks. Are you happy now? Everybody's equal. Personally, I think that the gender people, I wish they could change genders and would go fuck themselves. So really, we have to ask, why are we programming young kids? Why is the teachers programming the students in college to, let's say, have with information that is false? That's what a superstition is, by the way. A superstition is more or less a false idea that people lead their lives and they can enact in reality based on a false premise. And that's what we have here, superstition. We got to ask why, though. Again, Satan is the fallen angel of knowledge. That's what Lucifer, the metaphor, is. The fallen angel of knowledge, who uses information to manipulate people's minds, to lead people on the wrong path, to increase his power, using people as tools, exploiting people without their understanding that they're doing wrong, they think they're doing right. This is what we have here, textbook case of Lucifer. This is gender theory. I'm not saying the teachers are bad and they want to do bad. I'm not saying that. But people need to take a step and just think, not think, feel. Is what I'm doing right? Maybe I'm harming people. Maybe I'm really molesting their minds. I'm not really helping kids, driving them crazy. Because this is what happens, is we program their minds to be something that their hearts do not desire. And then we create conflict, internal. And that internal conflict then spreads into the whole society. Next thing you know, that these kids are at war with society because they're not happy at all inside, because they've been told to do something, but their hearts want to do something differently. And that's what we have here.